being present and deep self-awareness, the foundation of conscious existence. Greetings, my friends. As I guide you through the principles of a fulfilling life, I want to emphasize a fundamental understanding and a constant practice, the ability to be fully present in the current moment, and the cultivation of deep self-awareness. These aren't just abstract philosophical concepts. They are tangible skills that, when cultivated, will profoundly transform your experience of reality and your relationship with yourselves and the world around you. In the whirlwind of modern life, with its endless distractions and the incessant demand on our attention, the human mind has become accustomed to wandering tirelessly, leaping between the past and the future. You often find yourselves reliving past moments, perhaps with regret or nostalgia, or projecting yourselves into an uncertain future, filled with anxieties, expectations, and endless planning. This tendency, while sometimes useful for learning and planning, becomes a constant source of suffering and disconnection when it dominates your existence. The mind's wanderer, an incessant journey between yesterday and tomorrow. Just imagine for a moment how an ordinary day unfolds for you. You're sipping your morning coffee, but your mind is already in the meeting you have in an hour. As you walk to work, you're thinking about the conversation you had yesterday and how you might have responded differently. During lunch, your mind is busy planning the afternoon's tasks, or perhaps next year's vacation. By the end of the day, you realize you barely tasted your coffee, enjoyed your walk, or paid attention to your meal. You were physically present, but your consciousness was somewhere else, in another time. This constant disassociation from the now is the root of much of your dissatisfaction. You are not living the moment. You are thinking about it, or more commonly, thinking about something else while the moment fades away. I invite you to break this cycle. I urge you to bring your awareness back to the here and now. This here and now is not a static point in time, but a continuous flow of experiences that exist only in the present. The past is gone, and the future has not yet arrived. The only thing you truly have, the only reality in which you can act, feel, and exist, is the present. To recognize this is not a passive act. It is an act of power and liberation. When you anchor yourselves in the present, you free yourselves from the burden of what is already transpired and the uncertainty of what is to come. You can savor the aroma of coffee, feel the breeze on your skin, hear the sound of the leaves, or simply experience the quiet stillness of your own breath. The art of presence, anchoring in the now. How do you cultivate this presence? It's not a switch you turn on or off. It's a muscle you train. It begins with mindfulness. It's about observing without judgment what is happening in this precise moment, the sensations in your body, the sounds around you, the thoughts arising in your mind. It's not about stopping thought, but about being aware of it without being swept away by its current. It's like sitting by the bank of a river and watching the water flow by, rather than jumping in and being carried away by the current. This anchoring in the present has multiple benefits. It reduces stress and anxiety by lessening rumination about the past and anticipation of the future. It increases your capacity to enjoy the small things, leading to a greater sense of joy and fulfillment. It improves your concentration and efficiency, as your mental energy is not dispersed. And perhaps most importantly, it connects you to your own life experience in a deeper, more authentic way. When you are present, you are truly yourselves, in the only moment you can ever be. Self-awareness, exploring the inner landscape beyond the mind. Hand in hand with presence, and perhaps its most crucial complement, is self-awareness. I delve deeper into this concept, suggesting that you understand you are more than your mind. This is a powerful statement that challenges the common identification you have with your thoughts, emotions, and internal narratives. Often you believe that you are your thoughts, that you are your emotions, that you are the story you tell yourselves about who you are. However, self-awareness invites you to take a step back and observe the mind as a tool, not a master. The mind is a wonderful tool, capable of reasoning, creating, remembering, and planning. But like any tool, it can become tyrannical if it is not mastered. The mind, in its untrained state, is a whirlwind of incessant activity, a constant generator of thoughts, judgments, desires, and aversions. These thoughts and emotions, if unobserved, can dictate your reactions, your decisions, and ultimately, the quality of your life. They drag you, consume you, and prevent you from seeing reality clearly. Self-awareness is the ability to observe your thoughts and emotions without identifying with them. This means recognizing that a thought is just a thought and an emotion is just an emotion. You are not the thought, you are not the emotion. You are the observer of those thoughts and emotions. This distinction is subtle yet revolutionary. When you realize you can observe your anger without being the anger, or that you can notice your worry without being the worry, you open yourselves to a space of inner freedom. Imagine you are watching a movie. The characters on the screen might be experiencing joy, sadness, anger, fear. You, as the spectator, can feel empathy. You can understand their emotions, but you are not those characters. You are not physically experiencing their struggles or triumphs. Self-awareness allows us to adopt this same perspective with our own mind. Your thoughts and emotions are like the characters in the movie of your life. You can observe them, learn from them, but you don't need to be swept away by their drama. Developing the observing consciousness. Peace. How do you develop this observing consciousness? Through practices of meditation and mindfulness. In meditation, one sits in silence and simply observes what arises. Thoughts will come, emotions will surface, bodily sensations will manifest. The practitioner simply observes them, without clinging to them or rejecting them. You allow them to be and allow them to pass, without judging them, without overanalyzing, and without reacting. This constant practice strengthens the muscle of observation, allowing you to apply this skill in your daily life. For example, if you find yourself in a stressful situation and feel anger starting to rise, instead of reacting impulsively, self-awareness allows you to pause. You can say to yourself, here is anger. I am feeling it in my chest. My jaw is tensing. It is a strong emotion. Simply observing the emotion, naming it, and physically feeling it, without impulsively acting on it, already changes the dynamic completely. The emotion is still there, but you are not its hostage. You have the freedom to choose how to respond. This capacity to observe and disidentify is not an act of emotional repression. On the contrary, it is an act of processing. By observing your emotions without judgment, you allow them to flow and dissolve, instead of suppressing or magnifying them. This leads you to a deeper understanding of yourselves, of your thought patterns, your habitual reactions, your limiting beliefs. The Shaolin teachings, a framework for self-awareness. I often mention that the Shaolin practices provide a fundamental framework for cultivating both discipline and self-awareness. The Shaolin disciplines, whether through martial arts, meditation, or daily work, are intrinsically designed to train the mind and body for presence and observation. Every movement in Kung Fu, every posture in Qigong, every breath in meditation requires total attention to the moment. There is no room for a wandering mind when executing a complex movement or holding a demanding posture. This rigorous physical and mental training compels the practitioner to be in the present. Through conscious repetition and constant correction, the mind learns to calm down and focus. The body becomes an anchor for consciousness. Self-awareness develops by feeling every muscle, every joint, every breath. One learns to recognize the difference between necessary effort and superfluous tension, between useful thought and useless rumination. The Shaolin teachings are not just about kicks and punches, they are a path to self-mastery, where the true adversary is not an external opponent, but your own undisciplined mind. By engaging in these practices, you are forced to confront your own limitations, your fears, your laziness, and your mental chatter. It is in this confrontation that self-awareness is forged, by clearly seeing the patterns of behavior and thought that limit you. Furthermore, deep self-awareness allows us to understand that we are more than the superficial I, the personality with which we identify. It allows us to glimpse an underlying consciousness, a space of calm and clarity that exists even when the mind is agitated. It is this space, this pure consciousness or observer, that I refer to as your true nature. By recognizing this part of yourselves, you free yourselves from the limitations of the ego and open the door to inherent peace and wisdom. The transformative impact of presence and self-awareness. Integrating presence and self-awareness into daily life is not a luxury, but a necessity for navigating the complexity of modern existence with grace and resilience. When you cultivate these abilities, your perception of the world changes. You become less reactive and more proactive. Situations that once overwhelmed you can now be approached with greater calm and perspective. Challenges become opportunities for growth. Presence allows you to savor the richness of every moment, From the simplicity of a meal to the depth of a conversation, it connects you with the beauty of nature, the warmth of human interactions, and the wonder of existence. You no longer live in a state of perpetual waiting for future happiness, but find it in the very act of living. Self-awareness, on the other hand, empowers you to take control of your inner life. It allows you to recognize the triggers of your stress, the roots of your insecurities, and the patterns that hold you back. With this clarity, you can consciously choose to break those patterns, transform your reactions, and cultivate more beneficial mental states. It is the first step to mastering your mind, and ultimately, to achieving the inner freedom I describe. In summary, my call to be present and to cultivate self-awareness is an invitation to awaken from the dream of distraction and identification with the mind, to embrace a more conscious, more fulfilling, and more authentic existence. It is the starting point of a transformative journey towards self-mastery and true freedom. Without these foundations, any other pursuit of fulfillment will be like building a house on sand, vulnerable to the storms of life. With them, you build on solid rock, capable of withstanding any challenge and thriving in any circumstance. Discipline, structure, and mind mastery, the path to inner freedom. My friends, having laid the foundation of presence and self-awareness, we now turn our attention to the next crucial pillar for a fulfilling life: discipline and structure, which are essential elements for the mastery of the mind. Far from being limiting or repressive concepts, discipline and structure, within the context of Shaolin teachings, are liberating tools. They allow us to transform the chaotic and uncontrolled mind into a powerful ally, a tool that serves us rather than enslaving us. This mastery is what I identify as the key to achieving inner freedom. The fallacy of freedom without structure. In modern society, freedom is often associated with the absence of restrictions, with the ability to do whatever one desires at any moment. However, I offer you a deeper perspective, one that contrasts with this superficial notion. True freedom, I argue, is not the absence of limits, but the ability to choose your actions independently of your thoughts or desires. This implies that if you are slaves to your impulses, your fears, your addictions, or the incessant chatter of your mind, you are not truly free. You are puppets of your own internal programming. Consider a person who wants to stop smoking, but succumbs every time they feel a craving. Are they free? No, they are enslaved by their addiction. Consider someone who knows they should wake up early to exercise but gives in to the desire to sleep more. Are they free? No, they are enslaved by their laziness. True freedom is not about doing what you want in every moment, but about being able to do what you know is right and beneficial, even when the momentary desire or thought pulls you in another direction. Discipline, as an act of self-love. This is where discipline comes in. Often viewed as a heavy word, laden with obligation and restriction, discipline, in its essence, is an act of self-love and empowerment. It is the conscious choice to do what is necessary for your long-term well-being, even when it is uncomfortable or challenging in the short term. It is the bridge between a noble intention and its manifestation in reality. Without discipline, your highest aspirations, your greatest dreams, remain mere fantasies. The Shaolin teachings as a framework for cultivating discipline are not arbitrary. They are based on millennia of observing the human psyche and the interaction between mind and body. The daily routines, the demanding physical training, the prolonged meditation practices, the conscious diet, and the respect for hierarchy and order. All of these create a structure that, far from imprisoning, frees the mind from its own tendency toward chaos. How structure orders mental chaos. Imagine your mind as a garden. Without structure, without care, without discipline, it quickly becomes a wasteland overgrown with weeds. Negative thoughts grow unchecked, disordered emotions take over, and energy dissipates. Structure, on the other hand, is like the design of that garden. The paths, the boundaries of the flower beds, the irrigation system. Discipline is the act of caring for that garden. Weeding, watering the plants, ensuring everything grows in harmony. A structured daily routine is a powerful way to impose discipline. Waking up at a fixed time, dedicating time to meditation or exercise, eating at regular hours, dedicating time to focused work, and having a consistent bedtime. All of these create a rhythm that calms the mind. When the body and mind know what to expect, internal resistance decreases, and energy that was previously spent on indecision or self-struggle is freed up. The Shaolin practices, such as Kung Fu or Qigong, are prime examples of how physical discipline translates into mental mastery. Every movement is precise. Every posture is intentional. The mind must be completely focused on the body. If the mind wanders, the movement is lost. Through conscious repetition and constant correction, the practitioner learns not only to control their body, but to control the attention of their mind. Attention, once scattered, becomes concentrated. Impulsive reactivity transforms into deliberate response. Mind mastery, the true inner battle. The true battlefield, as I teach, is not external, but within us. It is the struggle to master your own mind. This mastery does not mean eliminating thoughts or emotions, which is impossible and unnatural. It means rather developing the capacity to choose how to respond to the thoughts and emotions that arise. When the mind is uncontrolled, you are prisoners of its whims. A thought of doubt can paralyze you. A desire for instant pleasure can lead you down self-destructive paths. An emotion of fear can prevent you from taking necessary risks. Mind mastery involves recognizing these patterns, understanding their origin, and then consciously choosing not to be carried away by them. Tools for mind mastery: non-judgmental observation, mindfulness. As I explained in the first part, the foundation of mastery is the ability to observe your thoughts and emotions without identifying with them. This creates a crucial separation between the I and the mental activity. When a thought arises, you simply observe it, acknowledge it, and let it pass. You don't cling to it, overanalyze it, or judge it. 2. The conscious pause. Between a stimulus and your response, there is always a space. In that space lies your freedom. Mind mastery involves lengthening that space, creating a conscious pause before reacting. This pause allows you to choose your response instead of reacting automatically. For example, instead of impulsively responding with anger to a hurtful comment, the conscious pause allows you to breathe, observe the emotion of anger, and then decide if the most effective response is anger, calm, or silence. 3. Visualization and affirmation. Training the mind also involves actively directing it towards desired states. Visualizing goals, affirming positive beliefs, and focusing on constructive thoughts can reprogram mental patterns. By feeding the mind with what you want it to cultivate, you weaken undesirable mental habits. 4. Developing willpower. Discipline is not innate. It is a skill developed through practice. Every time you choose to do the difficult but beneficial thing, you strengthen your willpower. From getting out of bed when you don't want to resisting the temptation of procrastination, every small disciplinary victory contributes to greater self-mastery. It's like training a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Discipline as a gateway to inner freedom. True inner freedom, then, is not the absence of rules, but the ability to self-impose the rules that guide you toward your highest potential. It is the freedom from being enslaved to the opinions of others. When your mind doesn't torment you with the fear of others' judgment, you are free to act according to your own truth, your own fears. By mastering the mind, you can face your fears and act despite them rather than being paralyzed by them. Your impulses and addictions. Discipline allows you to say no to what harms you and yes to what nourishes you, freeing you from self-destructive patterns, rumination of the past, or anxiety about the future. A disciplined and focused mind remains anchored in the present, where true peace resides. The practice of discipline and structure, though it may seem restrictive at first, gradually reveals its liberating nature. By creating order in your external life, routines, habits, environment, and in your internal life, thoughts, emotions, attention, you generate a sense of calm and control. This inner order then reflects in your outer world, allowing you to live with greater intention, clarity, and purpose. It is through disciplined action, repeated consistently, that you build the mental fortitude necessary to navigate life's challenges with unwavering resolve. The Shaolin path teaches us that ultimate strength comes not from external might, but from internal resilience, the ability to command your own mind. This command is forged in the crucible of daily practice, through the unwavering commitment to self-improvement. When your mind is clear and focused, when your actions are aligned with your deepest values, then you are truly free, unburdened by internal conflict or external pressures. This freedom is not given, It is earned through diligent effort and steadfast discipline. It is a profound misconception that discipline limits creativity or spontaneity. On the contrary, a disciplined mind is a fertile ground for both. When the mind is not cluttered with noise and distraction, when it is trained to focus, it gains the capacity for deeper insight and more innovative solutions. The artist who practices diligently for hours each day, the musician who perfects their craft through countless repetitions, the athlete who adheres to a strict training regimen, they all understand that discipline is not a barrier to excellence, but the very path to it. The discipline I speak of is not punitive, it is empowering. It's not about being harsh on yourselves, but about being consistent and kind to your future selves. Every small act of discipline is an investment in your well-being, your growth, and your capacity to live a life of purpose. It's about building a strong inner fortress that can withstand the storms of life, a fortress of calm and unwavering determination. This internal strength allows you to face discomfort, embrace challenge, and persist in the pursuit of your highest ideals. The journey of consistent effort. Remember, the journey of cultivating discipline and achieving mind mastery is not a sprint, it is a marathon. There will be days when your motivation wanes, when the allure of old habits feels strong. This is natural. The key is not to achieve perfection instantly, but to cultivate consistency. Each time you return to your practice, each time you choose discipline over indulgence, you reinforce the neural pathways that lead to mastery. Embrace the small victories. Celebrate the moments when you choose conscious action over impulsive reaction. Recognize that every moment offers an opportunity to practice, to reinforce your commitment to inner freedom. Whether it's a moment of mindful breathing, a disciplined approach to a challenging task, or simply choosing presence over distraction, each choice builds your capacity for self-mastery. Ultimately, the structure and discipline that I teach are not about conformity for its own sake. They are about creating the internal environment necessary for your true potential to flourish. When your mind is clear, focused, and under your command, you are free to explore your deepest aspirations, to contribute meaningfully to the world, and to experience life in its richest, most authentic form. This is the profound gift that discipline offers, the liberation to become who you are truly meant to be. Healthy relationships and gratitude, the pillars of connection and inner richness. My friends, as we continue our journey into the essence of a fulfilling life, let us explore two profound aspects that deeply enrich our existence: healthy relationships and the practice of gratitude. These are not peripheral elements but central pillars that support our well-being, expand our understanding of connection, and cultivate a boundless inner richness. The tapestry of healthy relationships: connection, resonance, and balance. Human beings are inherently social creatures. We are wired for connection, for belonging, for shared experience. Yet in our modern world, genuine connection often feels elusive. We might have many acquaintances, a vast network on social media, but true, deeply resonant relationships can be rare. I emphasize that healthy relationships are built on connection, resonance, and a balanced flow of giving and receiving. What does this truly mean? Connection. This is the foundational layer. It's the feeling of being seen, heard, and understood by another. It requires presence, as we discussed in part 1, and active listening. It's about being fully engaged when someone speaks, not just waiting for your turn to respond. It's about genuine curiosity about another's inner world, their experiences, their joys, and their struggles. True connection transcends superficial interactions and taps into a deeper level of empathy and mutual respect. Without genuine connection, relationships remain shallow, transactional, and ultimately unfulfilling. Resonance. This is where the magic happens. Resonance in a relationship is that feeling of alignment, of shared vibration, where you feel truly in sync with another person. It's when your values, your perspectives, or your energy fields align in a way that feels natural and effortless. This doesn't mean you have to agree on everything or be exactly alike. On the contrary, healthy resonance often thrives on diversity, where differing viewpoints can enrich and expand each other rather than causing friction. It's about appreciating the unique essence of the other and finding a harmonious frequency together. When there is resonance, communication flows more freely, understanding deepens, and joy is amplified. Balanced flow of giving and receiving. This is the dynamic aspect, the heartbeat of a healthy relationship. Relationships are not static, they are living, breathing entities that require energy, care, and reciprocity. If one person is constantly giving and the other is only taking, or vice versa, the relationship becomes imbalanced and unsustainable. It's like a river where water only flows in one direction. Eventually it will dry up. A balanced flow means that both individuals contribute to the relationship in ways that are authentic to them, and both are open to receiving from the other. Giving can be through support, kindness, listening, practical help, or emotional presence. Receiving means being open to accepting that support, kindness, and help without resistance or false pride. It's an energetic exchange where both parties feel valued, appreciated, and nourished. This balance is not about keeping a meticulous score, it's about a genuine willingness to contribute and to be vulnerable enough to receive. Cultivating healthy relationships, a conscious practice. Building and maintaining healthy relationships is a conscious practice, requiring the same discipline and self-awareness we apply to our individual growth. Presence in interaction. Put away distractions when you are with others. Give them your full attention. Look them in the eyes, truly listen to their words, and observe their nonverbal cues. This simple act of presence communicates respect and deepens connection. 2. Authenticity. Be yourselves. True connection can only form when you are genuine. Masking your true feelings or pretending to be someone you're not creates barriers. While wisdom dictates when and how much to share, authenticity is key to inviting others to connect with your true self. 3. Empathy and understanding. Strive to understand the other person's perspective, even if it differs from your own. Practice empathy by imagining yourselves in their shoes. This doesn't mean condoning everything, but seeking comprehend. 4. Clear communication. Express your needs, boundaries, and feelings clearly and respectfully. Avoid assumptions. Ask clarifying questions. Healthy relationships thrive on open and honest dialogue, even when discussing difficult topics. 5. Setting boundaries. Protecting your energy and well-being is crucial. Healthy boundaries are not about pushing people away, they are about defining what is acceptable and what is not in your interactions, ensuring mutual respect. 6. Forgiveness. Imperfection is part of the human condition. Conflicts and misunderstandings will arise. The ability to forgive both yourselves and others, and to move past grievances is vital for the longevity and health of relationships. Holding on to resentment poisons the well of connection. Remember, healthy relationships are a reflection of your own inner state. When you are centered, self-aware, and disciplined, you naturally attract and cultivate more harmonious connections with others. You become a stable presence, capable of giving and receiving love and support without relying on others to fill your own inner emptiness. Gratitude, the alchemy of appreciation. Now let us turn to the profound practice of gratitude. I encourage you to cultivate gratitude for everything in your life, including your parents, teachers, friends, and life itself. This isn't just a pleasant sentiment, it's a powerful tool for transformation, an alchemy that transmutes ordinary moments into extraordinary ones. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you. It is a deep appreciation for the blessings, the opportunities, the lessons, and even the challenges that shape your existence. It's about shifting your focus from what is lacking to what is abundant, from what is wrong to what is right, from what you desire to what you already possess. The power of a grateful mindset. 1. Shifts perspective. The most immediate effect of gratitude is a fundamental shift in perspective. When you actively seek reasons to be grateful, your mind begins to rewire itself to notice the positive aspects of your life. This doesn't mean ignoring problems, but rather approaching them from a place of strength and appreciation rather than lack or complaint. 2. Enhances well-being. Numerous studies have shown that practicing gratitude can lead to increased happiness, reduced stress, improved mental health, and even better physical health. A grateful mind is less prone to anxiety and depression. 3. Strengthens relationships. Expressing gratitude to others strengthens your bonds. When you genuinely appreciate the people in your life and express that appreciation, it makes them feel valued and loved, fostering deeper connection. 4. Increases resilience. When faced with adversity, a grateful mindset allows you to see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than insurmountable obstacles. It helps you recognize the lessons within difficulties and appreciate the inner strength you discover through overcoming them. 5. Attracts more positivity. The law of attraction, in its simplest form, suggests that like attracts like. When you operate from a place of gratitude and abundance, you are more likely to attract positive experiences, people, and opportunities into your life.
How to cultivate gratitude. A daily practice.
Gratitude, like any other skill, requires consistent practice. 1. Gratitude journaling. Dedicate a few minutes each day to write down things you are grateful for. Be specific. Instead of just "I'm grateful for my family," write "I'm grateful for sister's unwavering support when I was struggling last week." 2. Mindful appreciation. Throughout your day, consciously pause and appreciate small things. The warmth of your coffee, the beauty of a sunset, a kind word from a stranger, the sound of rain, the comfort of your bed. The more you practice, the more you will notice. 3. Expressing gratitude to others. Don't just feel grateful, express it. Tell your loved ones how much you appreciate them. Write thank you notes. A simple, sincere thank you can make a significant difference in someone's day and strengthen your relationship. 4. Reframing challenges. When facing a difficult situation, try to find the lesson or the opportunity for growth within it. Even in hardship, there can be something to be grateful for. Perhaps the resilience you developed, the new perspective you gained, or the support you received. 5. Gratitude meditation. Close your eyes and bring to mind all the people, experiences, and things for which you are grateful. Feel the emotion of gratitude fill your heart and spread throughout your body. Gratitude for the entirety of life, the light and the shadow. I specifically mention being grateful for life itself. This is a profound level of gratitude that embraces not only the joys and successes, but also the struggles, the pain, and the lessons learned through hardship. It's about recognizing that every experience, every interaction, every breath contributes to the rich tapestry of your existence. This all-encompassing gratitude allows you to accept life on its own terms, without constant resistance or complaint. It frees you from the need for things to be different than they are in this moment. It allows you to find peace and appreciation even amidst imperfection. Think about your parents and teachers. They may not have been perfect, but they played a crucial role in shaping who you are. To hold gratitude for them, even for the challenges they presented, is to acknowledge the full scope of your journey and the invaluable lessons you have gained. This level of acceptance brings immense inner peace. In Shaolin, every aspect of training, even the most difficult, is approached with a certain level of gratitude. Gratitude for the opportunity to grow, for the lessons learned, for the physical challenge that builds resilience. This mindset transforms hardship into a path of cultivation. Ultimately, the cultivation of healthy relationships and the practice of gratitude are intertwined. When you approach your connections with presence, authenticity, and a willingness to give and receive, your relationships flourish. And when you cultivate a heart filled with gratitude, you naturally become a more loving, compassionate, and attractive presence in the lives of others. These two pillars do not just enrich your personal life, they create a ripple effect, spreading positivity and harmony to those around you, and ultimately to the world. Purpose, suffering, and overcoming fear, navigating life's deepest dimensions. My friends, as we continue our exploration of a life lived with meaning and mastery, we now delve into some of the deeper dimensions of human existence: the pursuit of purpose, the inherent presence of suffering, and the critical importance of overcoming fear and accepting uncertainty. These are topics that touch the very core of our being, shaping our motivation, our resilience, and our capacity for inner peace. Purpose in life, a guiding force, not a destination. I encourage you to give purpose to your life, to stay motivated and make the most of your time. However, I also emphasize that you should not search for purpose. Let it evolve as you go through life. This might seem like a paradox, but it holds a profound truth. Many people spend years searching for their singular purpose, a grand, overarching mission that will suddenly reveal itself and make everything clear. This relentless search can often lead to frustration, self-doubt, and a feeling of being lost, because purpose is not a fixed destination you find. It is a dynamic process you cultivate. The nature of purpose. 1. A guiding direction, not a rigid map. Think of purpose not as a detailed map with a precise X marks the spot, but rather as a compass bearing. It gives you a general direction to move in, a guiding principle that informs your choices and actions. This direction can evolve as you grow, learn, and experience more of life. 2. Rooted in values. Your purpose is often deeply connected to your core values. What do you truly care about? What problems in the world stir your passion? What kind of person do you aspire to be? And your actions align with your values. You naturally feel a sense of purpose. 3. Found in the doing. Purpose is not found by thinking about it endlessly, but by doing, by engaging fully in the present moment, by cultivating your skills, by serving others, by exploring your interests. It is in these actions that purpose reveals itself. It emerges from your engagement with life, not from detached contemplation. 4. Can be small or grand. Your purpose doesn't have to be to change the entire world. It can be to be a loving parent, a dedicated craftsman, a kind neighbor, a meticulous gardener. Small, consistent acts, infused with intention, can be just as purposeful as grand endeavors. The scale does not diminish the meaning. 5. Evolving and adapting. As you evolve, your understanding of your purpose may also shift. What feels meaningful to you in one stage of life might change in another. Embrace this fluidity. Do not cling rigidly to an old definition of purpose if your heart begins to pull you in a new direction. How to cultivate a sense of purpose. Reflect on your values. Take time to identify what truly matters to you. What principles guide your life? What legacy do you want to leave? Identify what you love and what you're good at. Purpose often lies at the intersection of your passions, your talents, and the world's needs. What activities make you lose track of time? What are your natural strengths? And serve others. One of the most direct paths to purpose is through service. When you contribute to the well-being of others, whether through your work, volunteering, or simply being a supportive friend, you experience a profound sense of meaning. Set intentions. Before you begin a task, a day, or a project, set an intention for it. My intention for this work is to create beauty. Or my intention for this conversation is to foster understanding. This infuses your actions with meaning. Embrace the process. Release the pressure of finding the one perfect purpose. Instead, focus on living purposefully in the present moment, day by day. Trust that as you live consciously and authentically, your path will unfold. Overcoming suffering, facing fears, and embracing uncertainty. Now let us address a more challenging yet universally human aspect: suffering. I acknowledge that suffering is part of life, but you can learn to overcome it by facing your fears, accepting uncertainty, and developing inner resilience. And crucially, I advise you not to dwell on the past or worry about the future, as this can generate suffering. Suffering is an undeniable aspect of human existence. It arises from loss, pain, disappointment, and the inherent impermanence of all things. However, much of our suffering is not caused by external circumstances themselves, but by our resistance to them, our clinging to how we believe things should be, rather than how they are. The nature of suffering and its origins. Resistance to reality. The primary source of suffering is often our resistance to what is. When we fight against circumstances we cannot change, when we cling to the past or dread the future, we create internal friction. This friction manifests as anxiety, frustration, anger, and despair. Light identification with the mind. As we discussed, when you identify too strongly with your thoughts and emotions, you become their captive. A negative thought leads to a negative emotion, which leads to more negative thoughts, creating a downward spiral of suffering. Aversion to discomfort. Modern society often teaches us to avoid discomfort at all costs. Yet growth often lies precisely through discomfort. When we resist any form of pain, physical, emotional, or mental, we prevent ourselves from processing it and finding the lessons within. Facing your fears, the gateway to freedom. To overcome suffering, I urge you to face your fears. Fear is a natural human emotion, a protective mechanism, but when fear becomes chronic and dictates your actions, it paralyzes you and prevents you from living fully. Many fears are not based on present reality, but on projections of future negative outcomes that may never materialize. Facing your fears doesn't mean becoming reckless. It means acknowledging the fear, feeling it, and then taking action despite it. It's about slowly expanding your comfort zone. Re-acknowledge the fear. The first step is to name your fear. What exactly are you afraid of? Is it failure, rejection, uncertainty, pain, loss? Understand its root. Often fears are rooted in past experiences or limiting beliefs. Self-awareness helps you uncover these roots. Small steps. Break down the fearful situation into smaller, manageable steps. Each small step you take, despite the fear, builds confidence and weakens the fear's grip. Exposure. Gradually expose yourselves to the feared situation. This is a common therapeutic approach for anxiety and phobias. The more you experience the feared situation without negative consequences, the more your brain learns to recalibrate its response. Challenge your thoughts. When fear-based thoughts arise, question them. Are they based on reality or assumptions? What is the worst-case scenario, and can you cope with it? What is the most likely lie? Accepting uncertainty, embracing the unknown. Life is inherently uncertain. You cannot control every variable, predict every outcome, or guarantee safety. Much of your suffering comes from your resistance to this fundamental truth. You crave control, predictability, and certainty, and when life inevitably deviates from your expectations, you experience distress. Accepting uncertainty is a radical act of surrender, not to passivity, but to the flow of life itself. It means acknowledging that you don't have all the answers, that you cannot know what tomorrow holds, and that this is okay. Focus on what you can control. You cannot control external events, but you can control your response to them. Focus your energy on your actions, your attitude, and your effort. Cultivate present moment awareness. Dwelling on the past, regret, nostalgia, and worrying about the future, anxiety, dread, are two primary ways you disengage from the present and create suffering. By anchoring yourselves in the now, you minimize these mental excursions. Build inner resilience. Resilience is the capacity to bounce back from adversity. It is developed through facing challenges, learning from them, and trusting in your own ability to cope. Each time you navigate uncertainty successfully, your resilience grows. Practice non-attachment. Non-attachment doesn't mean you don't care, it means you don't cling. You can have desires and preferences, but you release the need for specific outcomes. This allows you to experience life's ups and downs with greater equanimity. Develop a growth mindset. View setbacks and unexpected events as opportunities for learning and growth, rather than as failures or misfortunes. This shifts your perspective from victimhood to empowerment. In Shaolin training, uncertainty is a constant companion. You don't know how challenging the next training session will be, what obstacles you will face, or how your body will respond. Yet, the training teaches you to embrace this uncertainty, to remain present and adaptable, and to trust in your capacity to meet whatever arises. This prepares you not only for physical combat, but for the unpredictable nature of life itself. The path of resilience, from suffering to strength. My teachings aim to equip you with the tools to transform suffering into strength. It is not about eliminating suffering entirely, for that is part of the human experience, but about changing your relationship with it. When you face your fears, accept uncertainty, and cultivate presence, you develop an inner resilience that allows you to navigate life's inevitable difficulties with greater ease and wisdom. Consider the metaphor of a tree. A tree that has never experienced wind or storms might seem pristine, but it would be brittle. A tree that has withstood many gales develops deeper roots and a stronger trunk. Similarly, your struggles, when faced with courage and awareness, forge your inner strength. They deepen your understanding of yourselves and the world, and they allow you to grow in ways that comfort alone never could. To recap, your purpose is not something external to be found, but an internal compass that evolves as you engage with life. And suffering, while painful, is an opportunity to cultivate inner strength by confronting your fears and embracing the inherent uncertainty of existence. These are profound lessons that, when integrated, empower you to live a life not only of meaning but also of unwavering resilience. The inner sanctuary, cultivating stillness and inner peace amidst the world's tumult. My friends, we have explored the dynamic principles of conscious living, from presence and discipline to relationships and purpose. Now let us turn our gaze inward, towards the cultivation of your inner sanctuary, a space of profound stillness and unwavering inner peace that remains accessible to you regardless of the external tumult and chaos of the world. This is not a passive retreat from life, but an active, disciplined cultivation of a state of being that allows you to navigate challenges with clarity, respond with wisdom, and live with profound serenity. In our modern existence, the world often seems to be moving at an ever-increasing pace. Information bombards you from all sides, demands on your time and attention are relentless, and the constant pressure to perform, to achieve, to be productive, can leave you feeling perpetually harried and exhausted. In this ceaseless motion, the opportunity for true stillness, for genuine quietude seems to vanish. Yet, it is precisely in this environment that the cultivation of inner stillness becomes not just beneficial, but absolutely vital for your well-being and your capacity for meaningful action. The tyranny of noise, external and internal. Consider the cacophony that surrounds you daily, the incessant notifications from your devices, the chatter of conversations, the roar of traffic, the constant background hum of machinery. This external noise, while often unavoidable, pales in comparison to the internal noise that many of you carry. The relentless stream of thoughts, the anxieties about the future, the regrets about the past, the judgments of yourselves and others, the endless planning and the pervasive self-criticism. This internal monologue, this mental chatter, is often the greatest impediment to inner peace. It is the uninvited guest that occupies your inner sanctuary, preventing true rest and clarity. You are constantly in a state of doing, reacting and thinking. There is little space for simply being. This chronic state of mental and emotional activity depletes your energy, clouds your judgment, and disconnects you from your deeper self and the wisdom that resides within. Without periods of true stillness, your minds become agitated, your emotions easily provoked, and your bodies tense. This leads to burnout, stress-related illnesses, and a pervasive sense of being overwhelmed. Cultivating stillness, more than just absence of noise. Stillness, as I teach it, is not merely the absence of external noise or the momentary cessation of thought. It is a profound, active state of being. It is the deliberate cultivation of a quiet space within yourselves, a calm center from which you can observe the flow of life without being swept away by its currents. It is a returning to your essence, a reconnection with the silent, watchful awareness that underlies all thought and sensation. Practices for cultivating stillness. Mindful breathing. The anchor, your breath is always with you, a constant, reliable anchor to the present moment. Consciously bring your awareness to your breath. Feel the sensation of the air entering and leaving your body. Notice the rise and fall of your abdomen or chest. When your mind wanders, and it will, gently, patiently, bring your attention back to the breath. This simple practice, even for a few minutes daily, begins to calm the nervous system and quiet the mind. It is a foundational practice for all forms of stillness. Onenyon formal meditation. The daily retreat. Dedicate a specific time each day for formal meditation. This can be as short as 5 to 10 minutes initially, gradually increasing as you become more comfortable. Find a quiet space, sit in a comfortable but alert posture, and focus your attention on your breath, or on a specific mantra, or simply on the sensations of your body. The purpose is not to stop thinking, but to observe thoughts without judgment, allowing them to pass like clouds in the sky. This consistent practice trains your mind to be less reactive and more focused. 3. Mindful movement. Stillness in motion. Stillness is not limited to sitting, it can be found in motion. Practices like Qigong, Tai Chi, or even mindful walking are powerful ways to cultivate stillness. Each movement is slow, deliberate, and performed with full awareness. Your mind is fully engaged with the physical sensations, the balance, the flow of energy. This integration of mind and body in movement brings a profound sense of calm and presence, turning physical activity into a moving meditation. 4. Nature immersion. Reconnecting to source. Spend time in nature, consciously disengaging from your devices and the demands of your daily life. Walk in a forest, sit by a river, or simply gaze the sky. Allow yourself to be fully present in the natural environment. Listen to the sounds, feel the air on your skin, observe the intricate beauty around you. Nature has a profound capacity to soothe the agitated mind and reconnect you to a deeper, more peaceful rhythm. 5. Sensory awareness practices. Grounding in the now. Throughout your day, take moments to consciously engage one or more of your senses. When you eat, truly taste your food, noticing its texture, flavor, and aroma. When you listen to music, Pay attention to each note, each instrument. When you take a shower, feel the warmth of the water on your skin. These micro practices ground you in the present moment, interrupting the ceaseless mental chatter and bringing you into a state of mindful stillness. Inner peace, the fruit of cultivated stillness. Inner peace is not an external condition that you achieve once all your problems disappear. If that were the case, no one would ever find it, for problems are an inherent part of life. Inner peace is, instead, a state of being that emerges from the consistent cultivation of stillness and self-awareness. It is a deep sense of calm, contentment, and equanimity that resides within you, regardless of the circumstances around you. Characteristics of inner peace. Non-reactivity. When you are at peace internally, you are less likely to react impulsively or emotionally to external stimuli. You gain the capacity to pause, observe, and choose your response from a place of wisdom rather than immediate instinct. Acceptance of what is. Inner peace is deeply connected to accepting reality as it is, rather than constantly wishing it were different. This doesn't mean passively resigning yourselves to unfavorable situations, but rather accepting the current moment as the starting point for conscious action. Freedom from mental agitation. While thoughts will always arise, inner peace means they no longer hold you captive. You can observe them without being carried away by their current, allowing for mental clarity and focus. There's trust in the process of life. When you cultivate inner peace, you develop a deep trust in the inherent wisdom of life's unfolding. You understand that challenges are opportunities, and that every experience, even difficult ones, holds lessons for your growth. Connection to your true self. Inner peace is the natural state of your true self, the silent observer that lies beneath the layers of thought and emotion. When you access this stillness, you connect with your authentic nature, which is inherently peaceful and whole. The Shaolin perspective on inner peace, a warrior's serenity. In the Shaolin tradition, inner peace is not a weakness, it is a profound strength. A warrior who is internally agitated, whose mind is clouded by fear or anger, is easily defeated. But a warrior who possesses deep inner peace, whose mind is calm and clear, even amidst chaos, is able to perceive threats accurately, respond with precision, and act with unwavering resolve. This is the serenity of the disciplined mind, the calm eye in the center of the storm. Our practices, whether martial arts or meditation, are designed to cultivate this state. The intense physical demands of Kung Fu training, for example, force the mind to focus entirely on the present moment, on the breath, on the movement. There is no room for external distractions or internal chatter if you are to execute a complex sequence correctly. This relentless focus on the present moment, sustained through discipline, naturally leads to periods of profound mental stillness and eventually a pervasive sense of inner peace. This inner peace is not an escape from responsibility or engagement with the world. On the contrary, it is the foundation for effective engagement. When you operate from a place of inner peace, your actions are more intentional, your decisions are clearer, and your interactions with others are more compassionate and effective. You become a beacon of calm in a turbulent world, capable of influencing your environment positively because you are first grounded within yourselves. Integrating stillness and peace into daily existence. To truly integrate these teachings, remember that still moments are not just for formal meditation, they are opportunities woven throughout your day. Morning ritual. Begin your day with a few minutes of quiet reflection, meditation, or mindful breathing before engaging with your devices or the demands of the day. This sets a tone of calm and intention. Match conscious transitions. Use transitions between activities as opportunities for mini pauses. Before moving from one task to another, take a few conscious breaths. Before entering a meeting, take a moment to center yourselves. Digital detox moments. Regularly disconnect from digital noise. Put your phone away during meals, turn off notifications for periods, and dedicate time each day or week to be completely offline. Active listening. When in conversation, truly listen to the other person without planning your response. Give them your full, undivided attention. This is a form of stillness in social interaction. Review and reflect. At the end of your day, take a few minutes to reflect on how you cultivated stillness and peace. Where did you succeed? Where did you feel agitated? What can you adjust tomorrow? The cultivation of inner stillness and peace is a lifelong journey requiring continuous practice and patience. There will be days when your mind feels restless, when external demands seem overwhelming, and when peace feels elusive. This is part of the process. The key is to keep returning to your practices, gently bringing your attention back to your breath, to the present moment, to the simple act of being. As you consistently cultivate this inner sanctuary, you will find yourselves becoming more resilient, more adaptable, and more capable of navigating life's challenges with unwavering equanimity. You will discover that true peace is not found by changing your external circumstances, but by transforming your internal landscape. It is the profound freedom that comes from mastering your own mind, finding calm in the center of your being, and realizing that the source of peace resides eternally within you. This is the ultimate strength, the profound serenity that allows you to live a life of true mastery. The role of suffering, resilience, and embracing uncertainty, transforming adversity into unwavering strength. My friends, in our previous discussions, we have touched upon the inherent presence of suffering in life and the importance of facing fear. Now, I want to delve much deeper into these crucial aspects, offering you a more profound understanding of the role of suffering as a catalyst for growth, the cultivation of resilience as an essential life skill, and the liberating practice of embracing uncertainty as a pathway to true inner freedom. These are challenging concepts, yet mastering them is fundamental to navigating the human experience with grace, wisdom, and an unshakable spirit. Suffering, an inevitable teacher, not an end. I have stated before that suffering is part of life, but you can learn to overcome it by facing your fears, accepting uncertainty, and developing inner resilience. This is not a simplistic statement, but a profound truth rooted in millennia of human experience and spiritual practice. Suffering, in its myriad forms, physical pain, emotional anguish, loss, disappointment, illness, separation, is an undeniable aspect of human existence. No one is exempt from it. To deny suffering is to deny a fundamental part of what it means to be human. However, while suffering is unavoidable, how you relate to it is entirely within your power. Much of the pain you experience is not caused by the external circumstances themselves, but by your resistance to those circumstances, your desperate clinging to how you believe things should be, rather than courageously accepting how they are in the present moment. This resistance creates a secondary layer of suffering, a profound mental and emotional anguish that is far more debilitating than the initial pain. The anatomy of suffering and the illusion of control. Consider the example of physical pain. The sensation itself might be sharp, intense, uncomfortable, but it is your mental judgment of that pain. This shouldn't be happening. I can't stand this. This is unfair, and your resistance to its presence that often amplifies it into true suffering. Similarly, with emotional pain, such as grief or disappointment, the initial feeling is natural. But if you cling to it, if you ruminate on it, if you refuse to accept the reality of the loss, then the pain transforms into prolonged suffering. The root of this resistance often lies in your deep-seated desire for control. You want to control outcomes, control how others perceive you, control your circumstances, and control your own internal states. But life, by its very nature, is uncontrollable. The only thing you truly have control over is your own response, your own internal state, and your own conscious choices. When you try to control the uncontrollable, you inevitably generate frustration, anxiety, and profound suffering. Resilience, the strength forged in adversity. To overcome suffering, you must cultivate resilience. Resilience is not merely the ability to bounce back from adversity, it is the capacity to grow stronger through it, to learn from it, and to integrate its lessons into your being, emerging more wise, more compassionate, and more robust than before. It is the psychological and spiritual muscle that allows you to navigate life's inevitable storms without being broken by them. How is resilience forged? Embracing discomfort, the crucible. Growth rarely happens in your comfort zone. True resilience is forged in the crucible of discomfort, challenge, and adversity. When you consciously lean into discomfort, rather than shying away from it, you expand your capacity to tolerate and transcend difficult experiences. This means embracing challenging training, facing difficult conversations, or persevering demanding projects, even when your mind resists. 2. Learning from setbacks. The teacher. Do not view setbacks or failures as dead ends, but as invaluable teachers. Every mistake, every disappointment, every instance of falling short contains crucial lessons. Ask yourselves, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this experience? What new insight can I gain? This mindset transforms adversity into a powerful catalyst for personal evolution. 3. Cultivating a growth mindset. The unfolding potential. Resilience thrives on a growth mindset. The belief that your abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. When you believe you can learn and grow, you view challenges as opportunities for mastery, not as insurmountable barriers. This contrasts with a fixed mindset, which assumes abilities are static, leading to avoidance of challenges. 4. Self-compassion, the inner ally. Be kind to yourselves in moments of struggle. Resilience is not about being stoic or emotionless. It's about acknowledging your pain, offering yourselves the same compassion you would offer a dear friend, and understanding that vulnerability is a strength. Self-criticism in moments of difficulty only adds to suffering. Thrive. Seeking support. The web of connection. Remember our discussion on healthy relationships. Resilience is not built in isolation. Lean on your trusted community, your friends, your family or mentors when you are struggling. Sharing your burdens, seeking advice and receiving support are vital components of navigating adversity. 6. Practicing gratitude, the anchor in the storm. Even in the midst of difficulty, actively seek out things to be grateful for. This practice, as we discussed, shifts your perspective from lack to abundance, from despair to appreciation, and provides an anchor of positivity during tumultuous times. It helps you recognize the inner resources you still possess. In Shaolin training, resilience is not just a concept, it is embodied. You repeatedly push your physical and mental limits, encountering fatigue, muscle soreness, and frustration. Yet, through this consistent engagement with discomfort, the students learn to persevere, to find strength within themselves, and to develop an unwavering spirit that transcends physical pain. This is how inner resilience is cultivated, not through comfort, but through the deliberate, disciplined embrace of challenge. Embracing uncertainty, finding freedom in the unknown. Connected to the mastery of suffering is the liberation that comes from accepting uncertainty. I emphasize that you should not dwell on the past or worry about the future, as this can generate suffering. Life is inherently beautifully and often unsettlingly uncertain. You cannot control every variable, predict every outcome, or guarantee safety. Much of your anxiety and suffering arises from your desperate resistance to this fundamental truth. You crave control, predictability, and certainty, and when life inevitably deviates from your rigid expectations, you experience profound distress. Accepting uncertainty is not a passive surrender to fate or a resignation to helplessness. On the contrary, it is a profound, courageous act of conscious surrender to the natural, dynamic flow of life itself. It means acknowledging, with a quiet strength, that you do not possess all the answers, that you cannot precisely know what tomorrow will bring, and that profoundly, this is perfectly okay. This courageous acceptance liberates an immense amount of mental and emotional energy that was previously consumed by futile resistance and anxious projection. Practical steps to embrace uncertainty. Focus on your sphere of influence. You cannot control external events, the actions of others, or the unpredictable nature of life. However, you possess absolute control over your own response to these external stimuli. Therefore, consciously focus your precious energy and attention on your own actions, your attitude, your effort, and your internal state. This is your true domain of power and influence. Release the illusion of controlling what lies outside of this sphere. 2. Anchor in the present moment. The only certainty, as we deeply explored in our initial discourse, dwelling excessively on the past, ruminating with regret, clinging to nostalgia, and endlessly worrying about the future, paralyzing anxiety, irrational dread, are two primary and pervasive ways you disengage yourselves from the power, the peace, and the certainty of the present moment, thereby creating immense unnecessary suffering. By consistently anchoring yourselves firmly in the now, in the only moment that truly exists, you minimize these exhausting mental excursions into the past and future and find stability. 3. Practice wise non-attachment, not indifference. Non-attachment does not by any means imply that you don't care about outcomes or that you become indifferent to life's experiences. Rather, it means that you don't cling desperately to specific outcomes, to people, or to things that are inherently impermanent and subject to change. You can have desires, preferences, and goals, and you can work diligently towards them, but you release the rigid need for them to materialize in a precise, predefined way. This wise detachment allows you to experience life's inevitable ups and downs with greater equanimity, inner peace, and emotional balance, adapting gracefully to change. 4. Cultivate adaptability, the fluid mindset. The ability to adapt quickly and effectively to changing circumstances is a hallmark of mastering uncertainty. Be open to new information, be willing to adjust your plans, and be flexible in your approach. A rigid mind breaks under pressure. A fluid mind bends and flows. This requires a willingness to let go of preconceived notions and to embrace novelty. 5. Trust your inner wisdom, the internal compass. As you develop self-awareness and inner stillness, you begin to access a deeper source of wisdom within yourselves. Learn to trust your intuition, your inner guidance, particularly when navigating uncertain territory. This doesn't mean abandoning rational thought, but integrating it with a deeper intuitive knowing that often guides you more effectively than pure logic in ambiguous situations. Seek and find meaning in all experiences. When confronted with uncertainty, look for the meaning or the potential for growth within the situation, rather than just focusing on the discomfort or fear. Even in chaos, there are less. This active search for meaning helps to reframe uncertainty from a threat to an opportunity for expansion. In the rigorous tradition of Shaolin training, uncertainty is not an enemy to be avoided. It is a constant companion, an integral part of the curriculum, particularly in sparring and self-defense. You never truly know how your opponent will move, what challenges you will encounter, or how your body and mind will respond under pressure. Yet, the profound training systematically teaches you to consciously embrace this uncertainty, to remain perpetually present and incredibly adaptable, and to cultivate an unshakable trust in your innate capacity to meet whatever arises with strength, precision, and unwavering resolve. This preparation not only hones your skills for physical and mental combat, but profoundly prepares you for the unpredictable, ever-changing nature of life itself. The transformative power of acceptance and inner strength. My teachings therefore aim to powerfully equip you with the essential tools to consciously transform inevitable suffering into unshakable strength. It is not about futilely attempting to eliminate suffering entirely, for that is an intrinsic and inescapable part of the human experience. Rather, it is about fundamentally changing your relationship with suffering. When you courageously face your deeply ingrained fears, when you wisely accept the inherent uncertainty of existence, and when you diligently cultivate profound presence and resilience, you progressively develop an inner fortitude that allows you to navigate life's inevitable difficulties, challenges, and heartbreaks with greater ease, profound wisdom, and an unwavering inner strength. Consider the timeless metaphor of a majestic tree once more. A tree that has lived its entire life in sheltered comfort, never having experienced the buffeting force of strong winds or the relentless battering of fierce storms, might appear pristine and outwardly untouched. However, such a tree would be inherently brittle, lacking the deep roots and fortified trunk necessary to withstand true adversity. Conversely, a tree that has bravely withstood many powerful gales, many seasons of harsh weather, develops exponentially deeper, more expansive roots and an incredibly stronger, more resilient trunk, making it capable of enduring even the most violent tempests. Similarly, your struggles, your challenges, and your moments of suffering, when faced with unwavering courage, deep self-awareness, and conscious presence, are the very crucibles that forge your true inner strength. They profoundly deepen your understanding of yourselves and the intricate workings of the world, and they allow you to grow in ways that prolonged comfort and ease alone could never possibly achieve. To recap, my friends, your true purpose is not an elusive external object to be found and then possessed. It is an internal, dynamic compass that continuously evolves and reveals itself as you actively engage with life in each moment. And suffering, while undeniably painful and often unwelcome, is a profound, albeit challenging opportunity to cultivate immense inner strength, wisdom, and resilience by bravely confronting your fears and wholeheartedly embracing the inherent dynamic uncertainty of existence. These are profound, transformative lessons that, when diligently integrated into your daily lives, empower you to live a life not only of deep meaning and profound purpose, but also of unshakable, unwavering resilience in the face of all that life presents. This is the path of true mastery. Mastering the inner dialogue and unlocking true potential, the journey to self-mastery and purposeful living. My friends, we have traveled extensively through the landscape of conscious existence, laying foundations of presence, discipline, and healthy relationships, and delving into the profound nature of purpose, suffering, and fear. Now, let us bring our attention to an often unseen but incredibly powerful force within each of you: your inner dialogue. Mastering this constant stream of internal communication is pivotal, for it directly influences your emotions, your actions, and your capacity to unlock your true potential and live a life of unwavering purpose. The unseen influence, your inner dialogue. Each of you carries within a ceaseless conversation, a constant commentary, a stream of thoughts, judgments, narratives, and predictions. This is your inner dialogue, and it operates whether you are consciously aware of it or not. For many, this inner voice is an untrained, often critical, and frequently limiting force. It can replay past mistakes, amplify future anxieties, whisper doubts about your capabilities, and hold you captive in patterns of self-sabotage. Think of your mind not merely as a processor of information, but as a garden. Your thoughts are the seeds you plant. If you allow weeds, negative, limiting thoughts to grow unchecked, they will choke out the beneficial plants, positive, empowering thoughts. Your inner dialogue, when left unexamined and uncontrolled, can become a source of immense inner turmoil, eroding your confidence and preventing you from taking the necessary actions to achieve your goals. The impact of an unmastered inner dialogue. Self-limiting beliefs. This internal conversation often reinforces deeply ingrained beliefs about yourselves and the world that are not necessarily true but feel real. I'm not good enough, I'll always fail, I can't change. These are common refrains that can prevent you from even attempting new challenges. Emotional amplification. An uncontrolled inner dialogue can amplify negative emotions. A small frustration can escalate into overwhelming anger if your inner voice constantly ruminates on injustice. A minor setback can turn into deep despair if your inner voice tells you it's the end of everything. Procrastination and inaction. When your inner voice is filled with doubt or fear of failure, it creates internal resistance to taking action. It can convince you to delay, to avoid, to stay in your comfort zone, even when you know intellectually that action is necessary for growth. Distortion of reality. The inner dialogue often filters reality through its own biases and past experiences, causing you to misinterpret events, perceive threats where none exist, or overlook opportunities that are clearly present. Mastering your inner dialogue. Cultivating the inner gardener. Mastering your inner dialogue is not about silencing it entirely, which is an impossible and unnatural goal. Instead, it is about becoming the conscious gardener of your mind. It's about learning to observe the thoughts that arise, to challenge those that are unhelpful or untrue, and to consciously plant seeds of empowering, constructive thoughts. This is a practice of vigilance, awareness, and gentle redirection. Practical steps to master your inner dialogue. 1. Become the observer. Mindfulness revisited. This is the foundational step. As we discussed in our discourse on self-awareness, you must first become aware of your thoughts, without judgment. Catch yourselves in the act of thinking. Notice what your inner voice is saying. Is it kind? Is it critical? Is it helpful? Simply observe, without identifying with it. This creates space between you and your thought. 2. Challenge limiting beliefs. The inquiry. When you identify a negative or self-limiting thought, don't automatically accept it as truth. Instead, question it. Ask yourselves, is this thought truly factual? What evidence do I have to support it? What evidence contradicts it? What would I tell a friend who had this thought? What is a more empowering perspective? By actively challenging these thoughts, you begin to dismantle their power. 3. Replace and reframe. The conscious choice. Once you've challenged a negative thought, consciously choose to replace it with a more constructive or empowering one. If your inner voice says, "I can't do this," reframe it to, "I will learn what I need to do to achieve this," or "I will do my best, and that is enough." This is not about positive affirmations that feel untrue, it's about shifting to a realistic yet empowering perspective. 4. Practice positive self-talk. The inner mentor. Consciously cultivate an inner voice that is supportive, encouraging, and compassionate, much like a wise mentor or a loving friend. Speak to yourselves with kindness. It's when you make mistakes or face challenges. This builds self-esteem and resilience from within. 5. Limit exposure to negative external input. Your inner dialogue is often influenced by what you consume externally. Be mindful of the news you watch, the conversations you engage in, and the social media you scroll through. Protect your mental space by limiting exposure to negativity that fuels unhelpful internal chatter. 6. Use affirmations and visualizations. Intentional programming. While not a substitute for deep work, conscious affirmations and visualizations can be powerful tools when used intentionally. If you are working on a specific goal, regularly affirm your capacity to achieve it and visualize yourself successfully completing it. This helps to reprogram your subconscious mind. 7. Embrace silence and stillness. As explored previously, regular periods of silence and stillness, through meditation, mindful walking, or simply quiet contemplation, reduce the overall volume of your inner dialogue. When the mind is calmer, it is easier to observe and guide its activity. Unlocking true potential beyond perceived limits. The mastery of your inner dialogue is not an end in itself. It is a powerful means to an even greater end, unlocking your true potential. Each of you possesses vast, often untapped reservoirs of capability, creativity, and wisdom. However, these are frequently held captive by the limiting narratives and fears perpetuated by an unmastered inner voice. What does it mean to unlock your true potential? Beyond self-imposed limitations, it means transcending the artificial boundaries you've placed upon yourselves based on past experiences, societal expectations, or the doubts of your inner critic. It's realizing that you are capable of far more than you currently believe. Actualizing your capacities. It involves fully developing and utilizing your innate talents, skills, and passions. It's about bringing your unique gifts to the world rather than letting them lie dormant. Living in alignment with purpose. Your true potential is unlocked when your actions, your choices, and your inner state are aligned with your deepest values and your evolving purpose. This creates a powerful sense of flow and fulfillment. Continuous growth and evolution. Unlocking potential is not a one-time event, it's an ongoing process of continuous learning, adaptation, and expansion. It means being open to new experiences, embracing challenges, and not settling for complacency. Contribution to the world. Your true potential is not just for your own benefit. When you actualize yourselves, you are better equipped to contribute meaningfully to your communities, to serve others, and to leave a positive impact on the world around you. The Shaolin path to unlocking potential. Relentless self-cultivation. In the Shaolin tradition, the pursuit of potential is relentless. There is no concept of a fixed limit to what one can achieve through dedicated practice and self-cultivation. The training pushes practitioners far beyond what they initially believe they are capable of, both physically and mentally. This constant pushing of boundaries, always with conscious awareness and discipline, is the key to unlocking hidden capacities. The rigorous training exposes the inner dialogue for what it is, often a source of resistance, doubt, and self-limitation. The mind might scream, "I can't do this," or "this is too hard." Yet, through disciplined perseverance, the practitioner learns to observe that voice, acknowledge its presence, and then, crucially, act despite it. Each successful act of pushing beyond that perceived limit rewires the inner dialogue, replacing "I can't" with "I can," or at least "I will try." This process builds an unwavering confidence, not arrogance, but a deep-seated trust in one's own capacity to learn, adapt, and overcome. It transforms the inner critic into an inner coach, always seeking improvement but doing so from a place of support and constructive feedback, rather than condemnation. Purposeful living. Action as the manifestation of wisdom. Finally, let us return to the critical concept of action as the ultimate manifestation of all these teachings. All the understanding, the self-awareness, the discipline, The inner peace and the unlocked potential remain dormant seeds unless they are watered by consistent action. Action is the bridge between intention and reality. It is the process by which your inner transformations begin to shape your outer world. A deeply purposeful life is not merely thought about. It is lived through deliberate, conscious, and impactful actions. Key principles for purposeful action. 1. Alignment with values. Ensure your actions are always aligned with your core values and your evolving purpose. When there is misalignment, there is internal friction and a sense of unease. When your actions reflect your deepest desires, you feel authentic and empowered. 2. Intentionality. Approach every task, every interaction, every decision with clear intention. What is the purpose of this action? What outcome do I seek? What energy do I want to bring? This conscious intentionality transforms mundane activities into meaningful contributions. 3. Courageous step-taking. The path of purpose often requires stepping outside your comfort zone, facing fears and embracing uncertainty. Be willing to take courageous steps, even small ones, toward your goals, knowing that learning builds through consistent effort.
4. Service to others. As I've always emphasized, true purpose often manifests in service to others. When your actions contribute to the well-being of the collective, whether directly or indirectly, you experience a profound sense of meaning that transcends individual gratification. 5. Learning and adaptation. The path of action is rarely linear. Be open to learning from your experiences, from your successes and your perceived failures. Adapt your strategies, refine your approach, and remain flexible as you navigate the dynamic landscape of life. 6. Patience and perseverance. Grand goals and profound transformations do not happen overnight. They require immense patience and unwavering perseverance. Celebrate small victories, learn from setbacks, and keep moving forward with a steadfast heart, knowing that consistent effort compounds over time. Your life, my friends, is a masterpiece in the making. You are both the artist and the canvas. The brushstrokes are your conscious choices, your disciplined actions, and your commitment to self-mastery. By understanding and mastering your inner dialogue, by boldly unlocking your true potential, and by relentlessly taking purposeful action, you are not merely living. You are consciously creating a life of profound meaning, deep inner peace, and enduring impact. This is the essence of the Shaolin way, a path not of external conquest, but of ultimate self-conquest and limitless realization. Go forth, manifest your wisdom, and live fully.